Welcome to High Infidelity, the best cheating videos on YouTube. If you enjoy this content, remember to subscribe and turn on notifications. Now let's get into the video.
Considering speaking to my brother 6 years after he betrayed me. I, 31-year-old guy, have been estranged from my brother for the last 6 years, 34 male. My then-girlfriend of 5 years had an affair with him, and I found out about it. I was in a serious relationship with her, and I had every intention of proposing to her and starting a family with her. The affair was discovered by my ex's closest friend, who then notified me of it. She said that it was making her physically sick, and she couldn't stand the thought of what they were doing behind my back. I didn't believe her and warned her that she shouldn't tell anybody else what she had said to me. In fact, I didn't even try to contact them right away. When I first saw it, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. My brother had a thing for my ex, but he was a womanizer, so it didn't work out. I didn't take it seriously since he was flirting with any female at the time. As a result of my disbelief, I strolled about like a zombie, uncertain of what I should do next. After learning that my friend was completely innocent and didn't have a malevolent bone in her body, I decided to keep an eye on things. However, I couldn't imagine my brother betraying me in this manner. I notified my ex-girlfriend that I would be out of town for 2 days on work. She was understanding. I texted my brother to inform him that I would be absent. I gave it a lot of thought and came to the conclusion that if they would meet at my brother's house. It was necessary for me to see it firsthand. At some point, I feigned to be leaving town. I decided to go to the movies to pass the time. She was genuinely pleading with God that her car would not be parked in his driveway, and she was successful. Her being at his house without me in the middle of the day could not be explained by any rationale she could provide me. My recollection of that day is as fresh as it was yesterday. It occurred to me that I had stopped at a stop sign before turning and not gone anywhere because I was terrified of what was ahead of me. My heart was beating so fast that I was afraid I was going to pass out. I needed to know the truth, and her car was in fact at his residence when I arrived. I went from being surprised to being outraged in a couple of seconds. To enter inside my brother's house, I used the key that I had with me. I saw them in his backyard, splashing about in his pool, their hands all over one another's bodies, lips kissing each other. They'd arranged a romantic lunch by the pool for the two of them. I just started snapping pictures of them. Then they realized who I was and were terrified, so I yelled at them. Everything went to hell. I have no idea how I got from his place to my vehicle and back to my house. I have no recollection of driving home to this day. When I returned, I tossed all of her out. Everything I didn't shatter ended up in the front yard. I told her that if she didn't leave, I'd tell the whole world how she screwed my brother. My neighbors came over, anxious, and I informed them all that I had just discovered she was my brother and that she was leaving. They were astonished and appalled when they departed. After I threw her out, I switched off my phone and became insanely drunk. My neighbors came over to check on me and make sure I was all right. Someone contacted my cousin out of worry, and he came over. When I told him what I saw, he continued questioning whether I may have misconstrued what I saw. When I showed him the photos, he was convinced. This shattered our family. I had disowned my brother, and he was no longer alive to me. When he tried to explain himself, our mother smacked him across the face as hard as she could and threw him out of the home. When we were kids, the most Mom had ever done was hit us on the hand. Everyone rejected him and ostracized him. Nothing has been invited to me. So evidently my now ex and brother were in love, and had been for 2 months when I discovered it. They did not call it quits immediately soon. They just had each other. We shared pals, and they were all on my side. A few months later, he knocked her pregnant. 100% sure kid was not mine. She was scared as a result. That was the formal end of the relationship. He left her because their relationship was contaminated and poisonous, and they could never be happy together. 1 month after she miscarried, he told her this. She attempted suicide and spent months in a mental institution. He attempted many times to contact me, but I was uninterested. The first year was a disaster for me. I poured myself into my profession. I was smart enough to limit my alcohol consumption, so I was having pointless with a different lady every weekend. I wanted a change, so I began looking for jobs that were 1,000 miles or more away. I wanted to move as far away from everything as possible and start afresh. I took a job on the West Coast, which catapulted my career to new heights. My 2 younger siblings are B/G twins, and they ended up joining me to California, where they attended college and have established. My father retired 2 years ago, and my mother got work in Las Vegas, so they relocated to that city, which is around 4 hours away from me and the twins. We see each other often. We all traveled to Vegas to stay with our parents during COVID since we all work remotely and have been living in the same home for 9 months. It was wonderful to have all of us together, yet there seemed to be someone missing. For the first time in years, I really missed my brother. My parents and the rest of my family have always respected my requests not to be in the same room with him and have never pushed me to make up with him. Their help made my recovery much simpler. As they say, life goes on. I focused on my profession and purchased a home. I traveled the globe. There have been a few of long-term partnerships that terminated amicably. I'm currently single and loving my life. My brother just married and had a child. I've never met either his wife or his kid. I was invited but did not attend their wedding. My parents visit him 1-2 times a year for long weekends and communicate with him on a regular basis. They are completely smitten with their grandchild. They had spent several of his vacations with him when I had other arrangements. The twins rarely speak to him and have yet to meet the baby. My sister said his wife is gorgeous and she's not sure what she sees in our brother. In May, I was invited to my nephew's first birthday celebration. I'm seriously considering going. I'm not in as much agony as I used to be. I'm not even sure I'm angry at him anymore. I'm just sad because of all the loss. I'm eager to meet my nephew. Has anybody ever recovered from anything like this? How did it turn out? Are there any regrets? Update. There were a number of comments asking whether my brother's wife was aware of his past. I had absolutely no notion. It's difficult to conceal being separated from a sister from a spouse, and I was interested whether he was honest about his shady past or flat out lied. I approached my father and inquired as to what he knew. He said that he questioned him whether she was aware of his background after they were engaged, and my brother stated that she is. Dad did state that he has never addressed this with SIL and hence cannot be certain that he is speaking the truth. Dad also remarked that SIL closet has her own skeletons. He said he didn't want to gossip, but a quick Google search with her maiden name would reveal a lot. So I looked her up since I believed my brother was a Slav. She is a convicted criminal who served time in jail for vehicular manslaughter, which is when you drive intoxicated and murder someone. It occurred a long time ago, but I can't image living with such a thing on my mind. Obviously, my sister is unaware of her family background. I doubt she'd describe her as gorgeous. I also asked Dad what he thought of my talking to him again, and whether he had changed at all. Dad said that he has evolved somewhat since becoming a parent, and that he is sorry for what he did, but that he is still self-absorbed and entitled. That made me even more perplexed. He stated it would be his dream come true to have all of his children in the same home again, but he would not put any pressure on me to establish any type of connection with them for their benefit. Dad said he warned him a long time ago that there would be long-term implications and that he would have to deal with them, even if it meant missing out on family holidays and vacations. Since learning that information about SIL, I've been deflated and may be less motivated to meet my brother again. I understand that individuals may change, but I'm not sure I want to let those two damaged people into my life, even if it means missing out on seeing my nephew. If I wasn't sure before, I'm much more so now. I'm going to leave things alone for the time being. That, I believe, is the finest option.